Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica, and as you can see by the title, today's video is going to be talking about a lot of failures of the last decade that I've had, my husband and I have had, just like stuff that's been going on behind the scenes that hasn't really been brought to light, I guess. If you saw my last video, I showed y'all how I made my vision board. I showed y'all how I made things from my vision board come true by manifesting them over the last 3 years. We've had a lot of success and a lot of fun doing it, just like a lot of really great things, but I really want the reality of the situation to be brought to light. I feel like everyone uses social media to just showcase their successes, which is great, like that's so inspiring and amazing, but I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I know personally for myself, I did struggle with comparing myself to other people's social media stuff around Christmas time because I just wasn't having the best time around Christmas, and then I would see families and people taking pictures together so happy, and I thought, oh my god, it must be so great to not have like drama around Christmas, but that is like totally so dumb, like looking back, like that's not the reality of the situation. Anyway, that is what's inspired today's video. So if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you want to stick around for more videos, hit the subscribe button down below. So let's just get into it. So I went ahead and made the list on my phone so I don't stray away and ramble, you know what I mean? Also, just so we're clear, I don't regret anything. I think everything happens for a reason. I'm one of those types of people, so it's not like, oh, I'm a failure, this is horrible. It's just like, these were the bumps in the road that didn't go so well, type of a thing. Okay, starting off, moving back to my hometown after college was a huge ordeal for me. That's the last thing I ever wanted to do. So I never graduated college, which was also kind of another fail. I just felt like I needed to go to college to be successful. I felt like I needed to be a nurse because my dad wanted me to be a nurse, and family members wanted me to work in the medical field or whatever field. Like I never really had a say, I felt like, and not going to college was never an option for me. With my family, it was just like, you go to college, that's just what people do, I guess. Which is a bummer, but I never ended up graduating. I got sick with my skin condition, and I was also like a raging alcoholic too in college, and so I just didn't have a lot of success there, and I ended up having to move home to my hometown. Actually, I had to move in back with my parents with my husband, boyfriend at the time, because they had to nurse me back to health because I was so in bad shape with my skin. There's a lot of videos on my channel about it if you want to learn more about that craziness, but yeah, I was super depressed and down, and I felt like a failure because all of my friends were getting like their dream careers and moving to like Austin and Dallas and Houston, and I was like, cool, I'm moving back in with my parents with my boyfriend. Yeah, good times, good times. It ended up working out though, because that 1 year I got to spend with my true best friends, like the greatest guy friends I've ever had in my entire life, and like my closest guy friend ever ended up passing away like I guess about a year or so after that year that I spent in my hometown. So looking back, I really don't regret it. I really got to have that time with him all the time. Now on to another failure of the last decade, and that is getting our cars repossessed and our apartment taken because we didn't have money. So when we moved to LA, I don't even know how many years ago. It's been 3 or 4. I don't know, it feels like 10 years ago because life just goes by so slowly because so much happens in such a short amount of time in LA or in California in general. But we moved into an apartment complex. We had, at that time, we had 7 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment, and we were paying for the master bedroom with our own bathroom. We were paying the same amount or almost the same amount as we were for a 3-bedroom small home in Texas for this apartment. And we moved to California without jobs. I got my job the first week there when I worked for Lenny and Larry's, and then my husband got his job maybe a week or 2 after that, and he was working for this guy who literally paid him like half of what I was making, and I really wasn't making that much either. So we just didn't have money. We could barely afford the apartment. Our roommates could barely afford the apartment too, and our cars got taken and repossessed because we could not pay for them. Okay, sorry, we had a little camera malfunction. I just started using my iPad as monitor. Hey look, there's me. Anyway, so going back to the story, we had our cars repossessed. It was horrible. We obviously didn't talk about it much because who wants to go and tell the world that, or even anyone, even our roommates and friends, that we got our cars repossessed in the middle of the night out of our apartment. And I ended up having to drive this old Jaguar that I hated. And looking back on it, like, it wasn't that bad. I was being dramatic, and it drove really well. But it was an old school Jaguar, like, I'll add a photo of it here, and yeah. I drove that for a while, and my husband, I don't even remember what he drove. We just got like really strange cars that we found. Yeah, they were super random, and I drove that car for about a year. And also during that time, a lot of apartments in LA, they know that people fail in LA a lot. Like, it happens so much. I know more people that have failed in LA than have stayed and succeeded. That's how crazy it is. So they have this rule at a lot of apartments that it's called like a 3-day and leave rule. And so if you don't pay your bills, a lot of places will let you get out of your lease if you vacate within 3 days. So we decided to do that, and we moved to the ghetto. And we lived in this apartment. Luckily, it wasn't like super, like, it was sketchy. Okay, maybe it was a little more sketchy than I remember, because one time I was in the living room looking out, and next door was a grocery store, like a Vallarta, which is not like an H-E-B or a normal grocery store. It's like a Hispanic grocery store. I can say that because I'm half Mexican, so if anyone's like, oh my god, that's racist, it's literally called Vallarta, and they sell tacos that were really good. But in the Vallarta, this guy pulled a shotgun because it was so sketchy where we lived. And then all these cops came. Yeah, it was really crazy. So we lived there for a year with, I think we had like about 7 roommates there. At one point we had 8. That's how crazy it was. But we had probably 7 when we moved to that other apartment to save money, to make sure we could sustain our lives. Yeah, good times. Lots of fails. We had no money. The next fail is when I was fired from my job. I was working for this company that shall not be named. It was a really unique situation because I was working for Lenny and Larry's. I was having some issues there that I didn't really appreciate. I also wasn't being paid very much because I didn't know my value at the time. And so I was getting a lot of offers from recruiters for a lot more money, like double what I was getting paid. That's how bad it was. And this recruiter found me and said, do you want to go work for this company? And I was like, sure, like, I feel like I could do that, and they were going to pay me a heck of a lot more money, and we could really use the money because we were living in the ghetto at the time, and it was so sketchy. So I go work for this company for literally like 6 weeks, and while I'm there, I'm just like, okay, this place isn't for me. This is pretty miserable. I was really upset. A lot of other people were leaving the company. The CFO was the founder's mom, and she was one of the worst people I've ever met on planet Earth. She was very like Meryl Streep from Devil Wears Prada. Like, she would yell in this empty, beautiful, huge office in the fashion district in downtown LA, and it would echo. And I was just like, oh my god, get me out of here. Anyway, I ended up being late for work one day because it took me nearly 2 hours to get from where I lived to downtown LA in traffic, and like, there would be multiple wrecks on the way there, so you never really knew what you were going to encounter. That day, I just so happened to encounter several wrecks, and yeah, I went to work, and when I got there, I was not even maybe 10 minutes late, and they fired me. And I was like, oh, cool, great, love that. So that was horrible, especially because I was making a lot of money. Granted, I was about to quit because it was so incredibly toxic and bad, but it's not fun to be fired, you know what I mean? I felt like a failure, and yeah, it was really bad. Oh, and also, a reason that I was fired and was already kind of like on the fence in their book is because when I first started the first week, some of the people that had already worked there invited me to go to sushi with them, and so we walked to sushi, and they said it was like a minute away. It ended up being like 20 minutes away, and so when we got back, we had been gone for like 45 minutes or something, and they got really upset that we were gone for that long. It was ridiculous. It was horrible, toxic, a horrible toxic time in my life that I don't like to remember, but fun fact, I got fired from my job. And the next failure of the decade is the amount of money we have lost when living in LA. And I don't mean lost as in we had money and we didn't have money. I mean like business deals that have gone south, and also just like different projects and stuff. A lot of people that are entrepreneurs know that you usually fail 7 times before you succeed, and I feel like the same can be said about business deals, like the biggest business deals you've ever seen in the world, whether they're gaming, TV, acting, like any stuff that you see, like so many things fall through. Like, you'll have investors pull out, you'll have markets change, like there's just so many factors that can happen, and to this day, we have lost over $10 million. So I need to explain this in a very general term because I'm not really allowed to talk about things in detail. But we've been screwed over twice by people in Belarus, which is near Russia, on gaming deals. We got screwed over $330,000 on one deal that we could take them to court for, but it's very complicated. And then another deal that they ruined, which was another, like, I don't know, like six figures easily. I just don't know the exact number, for a very popular game that I can't go into detail either. Both of them are very popular. Then we had another deal that we would have gotten a very small percentage of the deal, and a small percentage was going to be between $10 and $13 million or so. It was a huge deal. Very, 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 very top secret. I'm going to get in so much trouble for talking about this. It was very, very big. Like, super under the table. There was a lot of lawyers involved, a lot of different people all over involved. A very big team that was set up for this. And somehow my husband became a part of it, and it was crazy. This happened around the time of the fires, so November of last year, and things were lining up. I knew it was going to be a slow process because it's like they were buying and selling all this complicated stuff, and the market ended up tanking that this particular deal was happening in, and we were literally like maybe 2 weeks from it being completed and finished, because it was like, you know, when you're talking about that amount of money and that big of a deal, there's so many steps that have to happen before, like, okay, the money's in your bank account type of a thing. And yeah, it fell through, and it was rough. Most people don't know about that deal. It was really crazy. And what's really interesting to us is the amount of times we've missed out on very big deals. It's literally like the universe wants us to be successful, because they know when we get money of that amount, as far as like millions and millions of dollars, we're going to do so much good in the world with that money. Like, I don't even, I could ramble about it. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. And the last fail of the decade was something that kind of lasted a lot longer than I wanted it to. And that was that I was treating my skin with typical medicine, like topical steroids and like pill form steroids and all kinds of different medication from the doctor, and it was making me more sick, and I didn't even know it. And they said that diet and exercise was not related to my skin condition, and I just got more and more sick. Everyone was like, listen to your doctor, you're crazy. And girl, they made me so sick. If you've never heard of, I think it's called topical steroid withdrawal, there's some crazy stuff. Go Google that or go YouTube that. There's all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I was treating my skin totally wrong for such a long time, and I just can't believe it. And even in college, I didn't know until I went to a naturopath, who's like a holistic doctor, that I was actually allergic to everything that I had been eating for years. Like, when I was in college, all I did was drink whiskey and Coke, like only whiskey and Coke, or like a sugary girly drink. And I ate pizza and fast food and KFC bowls. I don't know what they're called, but they're like these delicious, like really cheap KFC bowls. Turns out I was allergic to everything. And doctors told me I could just keep eating it and eating whatever I wanted. And I ate candy, I ate TV dinners that I was allergic to. So that was a huge fail. And I could have saved a lot of money, time, effort, and my skin if I would have just gone to a naturopath instead. So that's like why I'm pretty holistic nowadays, because, you know, doctors screwed me all over the place. I went to dermatologists all over Texas, and every single one of them, man, yeah, good times. Anyway, I hope this video shed some light to you on the reality of the situation. Not everything is what it seems online. I literally know influencers that will buy luxury products to take pictures with and then return them, so they want to appear to be more glamorous. I also know influencers that have a ton of following online, and everyone thinks that they're very rich and successful, and they live in one-bedroom apartments and really, really struggle. There's no shame to that, but I just want y'all to know what you see online is not really what it is in real life and in person. So yeah, we may have success now, but we worked so hard for it, and I hope people see that. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions about any of this fun stuff, feel free to drop it down below. I'm an open book. I will see y'all next time. Bye.